In this video, I'm going to show you a variety of laser engraving projects using the xTool F1 and focusing specifically on the F1 slide extension. Now we'll be working with a large range of materials sent to us by xTool, starting with some 3mm plywood. Now this plywood has a nice smooth surface and it engraves and cuts beautifully. We also received some 3mm acrylic, which I have to say is one of my favourite materials to work with. It's really easy to engrave and cut, and it creates a super professional finish. We also have some extra long slate tiles, and we have a great idea for them that we will share with you later in this video. Now also in the pack is a bundle of laser engraving photo paper. Now we've been wanting to engrave photos for a while now, so this came at the perfect time, and the results were way better than we expected. And finally, we have a big pack of red cardstock. Now this is perfect for creating greeting cards or cutting box templates. So let's check out what we did with some of these products. The first thing we're going to start with is the 3mm plywood. Now we found an SVG file on Creative Fabrica. We thought we might make a sign out of it. So we uploaded it to Creative Space, which is the software that xTool created. And I have to say that Creative Space has gotten quite sophisticated with lots of new features being added since I last used it. So we duplicated the image and we mirrored it to create a longer image. And then we added some text with a font that we also downloaded from Creative Fabrica. I'll put the links to both the image and the font in the description field below. And finally, we added a border around the image because we wanted it to cut out as a sign. As you can see here, it is engraving beautifully. We did use the default setting for 3mm plywood in the software, but during our testing we found that the image wasn't intense enough, so we ended up changing the settings. Now all the settings for these projects will be on our website, so do check for the direct link in the description field below. Now the engraved part came out great, but I think I would adjust the settings for the cut next time. Perhaps increase the speed and do 2 passes instead of 1. It might have helped to reduce the slight burning around the edge. But overall, the sign came out great and we're very happy with the result. For the next project, we downloaded a laser file, again from Creative Fabrica, and this time it is a template for a playing card storage box. Now we've cut this out before on another laser and it came out really well, so we thought we'd test it with the xTool slide extension. Now all the pieces fit perfectly in Creative Space, so we were able to cut them all out in the one go using the slide extension. We stuck with the same cut settings as the homestead sign, but we really should have adjusted them to prevent that burning, although it does look more intense on camera than in real life, and I think the final result came out really well. Now we're going to try out some of the 3mm acrylic. Now I love using acrylic because everything looks so good with very little effort on my part. Again, we used the file from Creative Fabrica, and it's one I've been wanting to do for a while because I thought they would make great stocking stuffers for Christmas, so I made a heap of them. We just used the default 3mm acrylic setting in Creative Space for these, and you can see how nicely they're engraving. I also went ahead and bought some key rings from Amazon for these, and I really love the result. So sticking with the acrylic theme, we decided to create some coasters. Now I just love these Zodiac designs that we found on Etsy. I wanted to create one for each of the adult members of my family, and I've only cut 4 so far, so I've got a long way to go yet. But really, I think they are worth it. They look amazing. We just went with the default acrylic setting, and I was able to cut 4 at a time with the slide extension. They took about 25 minutes per coaster, but I think we can speed that up as I've noticed some settings in Creative Space that might help with that. So I'll be doing a bit of testing before I engrave any more of these. But don't they look great? Next we wanted to try engraving an image of a line that we downloaded from Creative Fabrica. Now this required a bit of playing around with in Creative Space as we needed to create a negative image for this to work, plus we needed to remove the background. We're planning to do a separate video on this in the future, but basically you have to remove the background and then invert the image. It worked out great as you can see here, and we also added a shape around so that it would cut out as a coaster. I just love how this came out and I really like this image. Since we were also given some laser engraving photo paper, we thought we might try engraving the same line photo onto that. Now this isn't scratch paper, but a smooth type of paper that is suitable for engraving on. We use the default setting in Creative Space for engraving on this type of paper, and as you can see, it came out great. I would like to explore this a little further as I love some of the ideas displayed on the xTool site for this type of paper. Now I have to admit that when we received the pack of materials, we were a little perplexed when we received the long pieces of slate. The first thing that came to mind was maybe a welcome sign, but then with a little help from ChatGPT, we got the idea to create a candle stand. So we found some candle quote SVGs on Creative Fabrica and engraved it onto one side of the slate. And on the other side, we placed the candle. I love this idea and we'll be making more for Christmas. Next, we wanted to try out some wooden spoons. Now these are super easy to make. Just search for some spoon or cooking quotes and type them into Creative Space. Then you can select the framing option and turn the dial on the side of the machine to move it along and see exactly where it's going to engrave. And this allows you to line things up perfectly. Now I made a heap of these for Christmas presents last year. They're a fun gift and they look really cute when you tie a ribbon around them. And I also added some homemade quilted pot mitts, so they made a really nice gift. So I hope we've helped you with some ideas for gifts for yourself, your family and your friends. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. It really helps our channel to grow. And don't forget to visit the website for all the settings for all of these projects.